Hello YouTube! Today we are doing the most legitimate ranking for all the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC tracks up to this point. Now as of right now we have 16 tracks, specifically Wave 1 and Wave 2. I will be ranking these tracks from A, B, C, D, and F. And yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? Also subscribe. I want more subscribers. Please. Thank you. Come again. All right. We have Tour Paris Promenade. And of course, I will be doing this on 200cc just because, you know, gameplay is fast and I can get through this video faster, of course. All right. So let's start off with the gameplay. Pretty average gameplay. I mean, makes sense. It's the first DLC track of the waves, so it makes sense why it's simple. I mean, hey, I'll probably give the gameplay a B. Visually, I do think this is one of the better ones. I noticed the city tracks in general have pretty decent gameplay, and I gotta say this one is no exception. So, you know, visually, well, here we are. Well, I'd say, yeah, I'd give it a B as well. Not the best visually of the DLC, but not the worst either. Creativity? No, I'd say it's pretty creative. I mean, it takes a nice layout. I like how it, well, looks. And overall, I think it's a pretty good track. And of course, since it's a city track, the layout changes lap 3. And I really think this is one of the better city tracks in the DLC in general. I was gonna say Wave 1, but there's only 2 in Wave 1. And I think it's my second favorite DLC track as of, well, my second favorite city track as of right now. Overall, I'm gonna give this track a B. All right, there's a lot to unpack here. So Toad Circuit's gameplay is very eh. I mean, hey, it's a fine track, but it's not a great track. I would honestly say it's one of the poorest tracks gameplay-wise, and I personally prefer other simple tracks in the game. Gameplay, I'd give it a D, honestly. Visually, gonna be honest, the worst track besides one other in the, well, whole DLC, but it's the worst Wave 1 track. And honestly, I really don't like it. So visually, it's gotta get an F. I apologize, Toad Circuit. All right, creativity, I do think it's fine, but at the same time, it's a grass track. What are you expecting? And I mean, overall, it's a pretty good track. I wouldn't say it's great. It's very mixed. I'm gonna give this a D. All right, Choco Mountain, which, let's be real here. This isn't chocolate, this is mud. All right, visually, I love it visually. One of the best ones from Wave 1 in the visuals. However, I don't like it visually at the same time. Let me explain. So obviously visually it looks good, but it doesn't look like chocolate. And honestly, I think that takes away from the track. It doesn't feel like chocolate, it just feels like mud. Gameplay, it's actually pretty good. I like the shortcuts, I like the elements of the track like the bats and the rocks. And I do think in gameplay terms, it might not be one of the better ones from Wave 1. Now creativity? I mean, the chocolate idea is phenomenal, but as I said, I don't think it expands on the chocolate. It feels too much like mud. And overall, I mean, it's fine, but it's not a great track that I would be dying to play online, you know? So I'm gonna give this a C out of the F tier. You just got Coconut Mall. Share this with all of your friends. They're totally Coconut Mall them. All right, so Coconut Mall. It's a good track. I mean, hey, it's Coconut Mall. Visually, gameplay, it's honestly not that good. I seriously think gameplay, it is super underscaled, especially on 200cc, which of course is a very big factor of this game. And if you can barely play the track on 200 without dying, I don't know, I don't think that's good track design at that point, you know? Gameplay, visuals, oh god, I'm mixing up myself today. Visually, phenomenal, maybe a bit too shiny for my liking, but honestly, it does what it wants to. It's a bright colored mall, just has a bit too much shininess to it, you know? And of course, creativity, it's Coconut Mall. I really don't know what you were expecting. It's Coconut Mall, you go in a shopping mall. That's actually a cool concept, especially for back then Nintendo on the Nintendo Wii. Hey, I am not I'm not complaining though, it's a good track. I'm gonna give it a B tier. All right, we have Tokyo Blur. And honestly, I don't like this one. First off, I don't know what it is, but there's just something off with this for me. I can't pinpoint what, but there's just that little something I do not know, or I don't even want to know sometimes. What's wrong with this for me? I just can't explain it. It just is. And gameplay, I like it. It's a bit simple for my liking. I do like how it plays though. Visually, obviously this Mario model detail, pretty good model detail. But the problem with it for me is just, it feels off, the colors. I can't explain, I just don't know. It might not be my thing at all, if I'm being honest. Creativity, well, I do like the thwomps back there. That's pretty cool. However, I don't really know why it's in Tokyo of all tracks, but hey, I mean, it exists, right? Overall, one of the weaker city tracks. I'm giving this a D on the tier list. All right, we have DS Shroom Ridge, and I'm going to be honest, this is probably my favorite Wave 1 track. I always felt if Shroom Ridge was done right, such as here, it could be a phenomenal track. And boy, they did it. I really, really, really enjoy it. Gameplay wise, it's phenomenal. I mean, look, there's so many added shortcuts like here, and I think they did it perfectly. It's later into the first wave, so there's a lot of cars moving that could knock you out and stuff, and it makes the gameplay so hectic, and I love that. I also love the visuals. For once, I think this flat grass style actually fits a track. Now, I don't think it's perfect, but for Nintendo standards and now, well, the DLC, I think this is the best we're gonna get for a while, for at least a grass track, you know? And creativity, it's Shroom Ridge. It's such a pleasant concept for a track. And for being that pleasant concept of a track, I think it's done really well. There's decoration everywhere. There's cars everywhere that are going opposite ways. If I had to say anything, and this is not the creator's fault of this, it's more so Nintendo from 2005, I think there should be more connection to like a real world. It's just a loop, you know? There's no like connection or anything to show that like you can escape the ridge. There's something down there. You guys can kind of see that. I mean, like people driving up here, how are they supposed to get down there? But other than that, this is definitely a top A tier track. All right, gotta be honest here with you all, right? I prefer the Sky Garden to every other Sky Garden Nintendo has done. I think this is what Sky Garden should be to be modernized. I don't know exactly why people think Sky Garden, the original version that is like better, because in my opinion, yes, the layout's simpler, but the thing is, it drives so much better. The first one's gameplay would be so boring in this game. And visually, it's good visually for what it is. One of the better ones visually, actually, in my humble opinion. And creativity. Well, I gotta give it an A for creativity because they actually like made the Sky Garden concept from the GBA and made it feel like a lively track, which honestly, it's hard to make a GBA track feel this lively and good, you know? And I'm really happy with how Nintendo pulled this one off. Definitely 100% an A tier. Not quite as good as Shroom Ridge, but still good. All right, we got Ninja Hideaway, and I got some conflicting opinions on this one, right? Gameplay, I think it's the exact same boat as Coconut Mall. It's quite small in areas, you know? I don't think it is meant to be, but it feels very small in areas on 200cc, you know? And like, it's not like bad on 150, but on 200, it can be really difficult. And honestly, I get it, it's the last track of the first wave, but I don't think it should be this difficult, you know? Visually, phenomenal. Original tour tracks in general also are really good visually. I mean, there are only a few at the moment, but we're getting more hopefully with the DLC. And I think this does a good job visually. And obviously, well, creativity, it's phenomenal. It's like phenomenal concept creativity wise as well. I mean, hey, there's also so many branching paths. We don't need those branching paths, but by God, they are so nice to have. And there's actually some exclusive shortcuts to 200. Like you can skip this turn if you go the top route and even go down here, you know? There's a lot of interesting paths here. I just think it's too small to be considered a phenomenal track. If it was slightly bigger and upscaled more, I would call this the best track of Wave 1, honestly. But that just holds it back from being my favorite Wave 1 track. Now would be a good time to tell y'all how I feel about Wave 1 in general. Well, this track specifically is B tier. It's almost an A tier, but the gameplay ruins it for me. However, I think Wave 1 in general is pretty dang good for the start. Definitely needs some work in areas, but overall, I'd give it a B tier thing. Well, ranking. Yeah, that's the thing. But now we go on to Wave 2, which is probably what more of you are excited for, because Wave 2 is obviously the new thing, you know? So let's go on to Tour New York Minute. I think this is my third favorite city track. Bleh. There's a lot of words, okay? Obviously, this park section fits so well for New York, and I think it's done perfectly. The gameplay of this track in total is really good. I definitely like that it feels like New York, and being the first tour track to, well, ever be released, I think it's really good ported to Mario Kart 8 like this. Visually, I might call this my favorite track visually of the DLC, at least as of right now. Not quite decisive on it, but I think visually it is spectacular. I don't think it could have been done better in my honest opinion. Creativity. Well, it's New York, but I do really enjoy it. And I like the ice rink right there, and the fact that we go underground. This feels like New York. Overall, a B tier track. Literally molding right now, not gonna lie. This is hands down the worst track and most underwhelming track of the DLC, at least at this point. Gameplay, 200cc, it's fine. 150cc, oh my god, I am literally molding. Visually, I don't like it at all. Okay, that's a lie. I like the added blocks from back there to be more like a Mario theme. I mean, that's pretty cool, but the lack of other visuals really take away from it, you know? Creativity, possibly the worst track creative-wise as well. I mean, hey, this track has a lot of worse. But yeah, creativity, it's just Mario Circuit. That's all it is. Doesn't even do anything to spice it up for this game. Which is weird considering the GBA tracks are spiced up. This, hands down, F tier. No questions asked. This one shocked me probably the most of Wave 2. Like, no cap, I'm shocked about this one. Gameplay, honestly, really boring the first lap, I'd say. Because, I mean, hey, it's Kalimari Desert. It's not a great gameplay track in the first place. However, I love how it turns into Kalimari Desert 2 and how that has phenomenal gameplay. You get to interact with the train, which first time in an official console Mario Kart. Visually, outstanding. Obviously, it could be better, like the rocks specifically, but I think what we got, this one is great, and I'm really happy with how it came out, you know? And I like the creativity as well, especially because it turns into a completely different track. And right here, you got two different pathways you can still go, which is awesome how Nintendo still did that. You know, this well, it is inspired by Kalimari Desert 2 for lap 2 and 3, but it also takes some creative liberties, right? Overall, I gotta give this an A tier. It's phenomenal. All right, you all are not gonna like me for this one, okay? I don't, and I mean don't like Waluigi Pinball that much. It's fine. Visually amazing. Gameplay is really where it stands for me. In this game, I swear the segment we are on right now needs anti-gravity so bad. That's really what kills it for me. There is no anti-gravity there, despite wanting anti-gravity, you know? Because that was the perfect section for anti-gravity. Yet they didn't add it, and you know, they added anti-gravity to a later track, which in all honesty, did not need it. Visually, I already touched up on this, but I do like it visually. I don't love it. I feel like it can be too dark in areas while being too bright in others, but honestly, it's not a big deal. I think visually they really did nice, despite, you know, being a very simple tour track, honestly, visually. Obviously, creativity. This track is, well, really creative. Come on, it's Waluigi Pinball. I'm not going to say it's not creative. The fact that we're playing on basically a miniature, well, a giant pinball machine, that will always be a sick concept. And the fact that Waluigi is part of it, that might make it that much better. Overall, this track in general is a tough track for me to rank because I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I'm like, eh. I like it, I guess. I'm like, it's okay, you know? If I had to give this track a ranking, I'd give it a C tier. Also, the pinballs go way too fast in this game unless you're on 200. Anyways, best city track right here. I don't know why, and I cannot explain why that well. but by God, they did it with this track. This city track, that was a weird camera angle. This city track damn well did it. It is possibly the best city track we might get for a while. I don't think it's the best we'll get for the whole thing, because Vancouver Velocity, I will think, would be much better in this game. But by God, they did it with this track. Also, this off-road cut you see here, lap 1, that was not originally in this game. That was, well, it wasn't originally in Tour. They actually made that for this game. Fun fact, I love this park section back there. I think that really gives the track the vibes it needs to be a very good track. And I think the gameplay, really good, very basic at first lap, but it actually gets to be pretty interesting, you know? Visually, oh my God, the best city track visually. It fits what it's trying to go for. Obviously, yes, DLC, it still needs improvements, but by God, I think this is the best one we got so far for city track wise. Also, don't convince me that this gameplay is not good, or, well, the creativity, because I think they did a really good job with the layout, and creative wise, I like how they go through it. Like, you go through this building, which I'm assuming has importance, but I don't live in Sydney, so I actually don't know. But no, I'll give this track an A tier. All right, this one surprised probably everyone, including me. Wow. When I was thinking they'd do Snow Land, I was thinking they would not make something like too good, but you know, I was shocked to see that this was what came out of Snow Land, and by God, besides not being able to dance with the penguins, I think they did a really good job with this track, okay? I think this is the best GBA recreation in this game as of right now. Yes, I'd go as far to say it's better than GBA Mario Circuit. Well, gameplay. Gameplay-wise, I mean, besides the slippery road, I love this. There's that shortcut right there that you probably know about to the right, or you can skip the turn I'm on. But also, it just looks good. This track looks good. It's shortened as well. This track, of all the GBA tracks that needed to be shortening, this one, hands down, was the one that needed it the most. And they gave us it. They gave us a shorter GBA Snow Land, and I am really happy that they did that. And just like Sky Garden, I'm really happy they took the creative liberties they did. So, no, I am very happy about that. Like, genuinely, I'm shocked that this track is this good, honestly. I know my Nintendo, they wouldn't let us have this much fun if it weren't for us. B tier track, okay? Oh, yeah. We got the best Wave 2 track, in my humble opinion, right here. Mushroom Gorge looks good, plays phenomenally, and even is super creative. And there's a lot of stuff to unpack here, okay? This cave shocked me how good it looked. And not only that, it kept the mushroom patterns from Mario Kart Wii, which if you know me, I played Mario Kart Wii a lot. Also, it kept this. I am shocked, and I mean shocked. Nintendo actually willingly kept that. You'd think a lovely Nintendo we know all of love would not have that, but by God, they kept it, and I don't think I've seen a single person be like, yeah, they were gonna keep it. Visually amazing, gameplay phenomenal, and overall the best DLC track we can get right now. I seriously cannot have enough of this track. The grass, everything, it looks good. It looks so good. It's detailed. The cave, I cannot believe the cave, okay? I love, and I mean love, the cave. This is A tier, hands down. All right, after that last phenomenal track, we kind of end off with a doozy. I am not gonna lie. I really don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I honestly do not like this track at all gameplay wise. This track could have worked, and I mean could have worked without anti-gravity, and could have worked without the weird floaty physics from, well, the F-Zero tracks, but they just had to force it in. They just had to force in the gameplay, but on the bright side, the visuals and theming are pretty nice, not gonna lie. Being an original tour track, and yes, it's a tour track, don't question it, I really think it's a good theme. I wasn't expecting a good, well, theming from the tour track, but hey, you know what? I ain't complaining. Creativity, I mean, yeah. It's the same thing as I said last stop. I just realized. Ice cream though. Ice cream is pretty epic. You cannot complain about that, I would think. This gets a D tier just because of the gameplay. But overall, this, well, pack of tracks, honestly, if it weren't for this in MC3, it would be A tier, but instead it's a B tier. But yeah, no, that is all I have for you today. So subscribe, Lamau.